Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!
Hello and welcome to the latest Gulls review, brought to you by Galaxy TQ. I'm joined by Dom.
Good evening, guys.
I'm joined by Tom.
Bonjour, lads.
Seems a lot quieter this week, doesn't it? There's only 3 of us, not 5. Anyway, so Torquay have drawn 2-2 against Dover, which is kind of already started a bit of a mini meltdown. Obviously not the result we wanted. But Tom,
where's your panic button, Sam?
Yeah, I don't have one at the moment, to be honest with you. It's just not really worth panicking about, is it? But Tom, you were there. Talk us through it.
Well, first of all, sorry, Chris. Should have stuck with your gut, really. 2-2.
We're blaming him, aren't we, for the prediction going wrong?
It's a disappointing result when you consider we were 2-0 up so early on. The first 20 minutes, we absolutely bossed that game. It could easily have been 3 or 4-0. Half an hour in, Ash hit the post. We had a couple of really good chances, but the opening goals come from a really good, skillful bit of play from Collins. He was whipping balls in with such accuracy, and it was such a shambolic own goal from Dover. And then the second goal, Brett McGavin makes a good pass to Jenkins Davies, and his cross into the box finds Asa, 2-0. And it looks like, we're going to absolutely walk it. And then I don't know if we just thought the game was won, maybe, but we kind of we didn't have the intensity of that first 20 minutes. And we let Dover get back into the game, and our standards dropped to their level. They weren't a particularly great footballing side, but they had some very tricky, pacey players up front, and they were causing us trouble for the rest of the game. It's a shame because you go in 2-0 at half time and it all looks quite good. We've maybe not played very well for the majority of the end of the first half, but you go in 2-0 up to concede such a poor goal. The lad's unmarked as the ball comes in. Unlucky that it's coming off the post. So you go in 2-1 and the mentality changes. Dover had nothing to lose. They had nothing to lose that game. And of all the games you probably don't want in this division, in that time, the weather was terrible as well. It's not the easiest games and easiest grounds that you want to go to first off, even though I predicted we were going to win that 4-1, but I guess that's just silly me, but I should have known better. And then the second goal, it's so poor. I mean, we lose the ball in our own half a couple of passes later, and it's 2-on-2, 3-on-2, and Donlan can't get the ball, and it's just a goal we've seen before in the past, get caught on the counter. And to be honest, I think Dover probably maybe will feel unlucky that they've not come away with a win. But then saying that,
Jarvis missed a lot of chances. Yeah,
we had a lot of chances. Jarvis missed an absolute sitter, and literally after they equalised, he missed an absolute sitter. And there was a clear pull on his shirt at one moment. Yeah. I mean, it was right in front of us. Absolutely pen. And Ash nearly wins it at the death, but it's not panic stations yet. It's one game. No team away from home won in the South yesterday. So, I mean, you look at Yeovil, losing to Hemel. It's a tricky going away to these small grounds. It's going to be so tricky for us this season, and it's the mentality. It's the mentality shift now of being, a National League club fighting relegation. There was no pressure on us really because we were so far gone to an extent last season. Whereas now we're one of the, a big fish in this division, and we need to get in our heads that it's not going to be a walk in the park. But it's not panic stations at all yet. If we win the next 2 home games, then 7 out of 9 points is a pretty good return for your first 3 games. So yes, it's frustrating, and yes, it was a very average performance from a lot of our players. But you have to think that we're missing some key talent out there, really Dawson and Stobbs to name 2. And I suppose maybe if you want to have problems to look at, it's good to have them now and still be able to take a point. Then it would be, 10 games down the line. So disappointing opener, but we've got a point away from home, and we got a point last time we were in this division, and look how that ended up. So looking at omens, but on the whole, it was a very disappointing display in the main, but sometimes you play poorly and, you can get a point. So Yeah.
No, I do agree. I think at the time I was really angry. I think because we were 2-0 up, of course. Since then, it's all died down a bit. I've got a bit of perspective about it. Obviously, the pressure's on. Like, it wasn't an ideal start until, as you say, win your next 2 home games, which won't be easy. No game's easy. And 7 points from 3, it's a good start. We've just come down. The pressure's on us. It is adapting to that kind of, all of a sudden, we've gone from getting battered most of last season to, we've got to win this league now. My beer, and the first game of the season, it is a game of the 46, of course, but it's a mental game. Like, there's so many different things going on. You don't know who's the best team. So many different. It's such a weird time in football. I mean, look at some of the scores you've seen yesterday, all across the EFL and in our league as well. My point of view, just from kind of listening to it and watching the highlights, defense very weak. One thing actually I'll give Swanee Senior credit for this actually is that as much as we're saying how good that pre-season was, we didn't go to any of these kind of like National League South or like lower than that. Usually do a Buckland and Plymouth Parkway kind of thing.
I just said that before we were speaking, didn't we?
Yeah, we didn't go to any of those sort of teams. And look, I thought our pre-seasons were useful, but maybe we could have done with one of those ones, a game where we will have all the ball. Like Plymouth and Exeter were great tests, but we needed one where we won't have ball, we'll be going to horrible pitches and playing on them. And I hope, obviously, I was also very aware, because when everyone's going, it's one game, it's a start, give it 10 games. We were saying this all last season, so I'm a little bit less naive to that now. But
I think ideally you'd have had Tiverton and Buckland, wouldn't you, mixed up to that? Because it would have mixed up the types of teams we're playing against, wouldn't it?
I just kind of hope that was a bit of a, we need to adapt to this moment. I mean, full credit to like Dover, not I don't realize, but like all credit to Dover. Like it was just a few long balls in the end, and they played some. They were up for it. At 2 or 3-0, you thought, we're going to be 3
and
up there.
Let's be fair to Dover, considering how their pre-season's gone and everything behind the scenes. They had nothing to lose really, and if they'd lost, so be it. That was expected. So why not, just give it your go and get into them and see how they react.
We've got to really learn the psychological battle of this division now. We've really got to not let teams go in confidence. Like, I know we got the 2-0 lead, which should have been enough, really, with a quality we have in our squad. But we cannot start letting them win the individual battles. You cannot have your defence been so. Look, there's some good players in that defence yesterday, but been so kind of naive and losing those individual battles. Because as soon as you've got big strike or whatever winning that, the game will start to go. They will grow in confidence, and it doesn't matter if we're better. It just matters what happens in those 90 minutes. Now, it's a bit weird actually, because obviously Moxley came on. I really like Krask as a player. Is he an answer in a centre back in this division at this moment, especially against a team like Dover? I'm not too sure. I do prefer more on the sort of in the midfield or whatever. From what I've seen, he's a great player. He'll learn from it. They all will. Thompson, he'll learn from it. All stuff like that. But we did actually need someone, of Ross Marshall's profile that Ross Marshall's meant to be, and we all hope to be, of just someone that he's not the most talented player in the world, but someone will get stuck in and, just dig into a striker and say, look, I'm here, go away. It doesn't have to be the most talented defender, but we just needed a bit of that yesterday. I know we all know what we think about Ross Marshall and how he hasn't performed to what we think he should do. But we did need a sort of player like that. And I hope if Ross Marshall's on his way out, if he's going to not play or we can get someone in. I don't know what's going on in that situation. I noticed he went on the bench yesterday. But we need someone just so when all of a sudden we're getting the long balls in, or I'm not saying Dover a long ball team, but just someone who's there for physical battle. And that defence was not physical enough. It was pretty embarrassing, that second goal. Credit to Mark Olstead, by the way. 2 cracking saves.
Absolutely. He was my man of the match yesterday. He made some really smart stops. Wasn't really called into action much, but when he was, he made some really smart stops. And I can't blame him for both the goals. So, yeah, I voted him man of the match. But the problem with yesterday was the first 20 minutes, they just couldn't handle. We were passing the ball around. We were zippy. We were, it was great to watch. And then we just dropped the standard. And
then started panicking.
And, in my verdict, unfortunately, a lot of players got 5s and 6s, which average performances. And there wasn't many that stood out, unfortunately, other than, say, I thought Collins again was really good.
Was he
Asa had a good game,
or did he just take off the tactical?
I think it was tactical. I thought he was running around everywhere, but I didn't think it was injury related or fitness related.
It sounded like he was running the game.
There were some weird changes.
Taking off Collins, from what I heard.
Yeah. There was some weird Gary Johnson subs yesterday. Especially at the end when we were ringing Moxley on, taking Will Jenkins-Davies off, who's arguably one that you would expect to get the balls into the box and make something happen.
I'm all for changing things, and I did feel like Moxley needed to be on that pitch yesterday, to be honest. But obviously, he's just coming back from an injury. But yeah, no, it was the Silva one. It just felt a bit. Yeah, the Martin. What was it? Martin came on. Yeah, I get the
Martin. Yeah, Martin came on. Yeah.
How did he look?
But
he looked fine for a season.
Dan Martin. Yeah, he was okay. I don't think he influenced the game too much, to be honest. It didn't really change the flow of the game at that time until Dover got the equaliser, and then we kind of started to wake up. But even then, we still looked fragile at the back, and unfortunately, there was not much in the midfield either. As much as it's nice to have Asa in there, it just doesn't have the legs as he did, say, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And there's just a general lack of pace overall. De Silva came on. I think he needs a bit more time with the team to get back into the flow. Again, there was just a lot of aerial balls, and we didn't play the conditions well at all. No, so it's going to take time, and I'm still not a fan of this 3-5-2 formation. I mean, we were so exposed once again in the wing back area. Dover managed to find space, and we just didn't have, again, the pace or the strength to cope with that. And if people are expecting Dover to be, let's be honest, relegation fodder this season, it's disheartening in a way. But again, that's the dangers and the perils of the National League South. The team's going to raise their games against us.
Yes,
we've got to be able to be strong and play the right ball. Let's be honest, Dover are part-time. They only train a couple of times a week. We're full-time professionals. It's
embarrassing.
We've got to have that winning mentality. We got to be able to kill teams off. That's what we did last time. We got to 70 minutes and our fitness came through, but I didn't feel like we were going to Dover were going to tire or anything.
With this season, that the first 5 or 6 games are going to be a little bit tricky. It's just about getting through and not being like we were last season. I feel like any team that comes down, some will start off straight away and then they hit a bit of a hold. They will ease into it a little bit. It's about changing that whole momentum of your football club. It's about getting used to being the new ones in the division. I just feel the first 5 or 6 games are going to be a bit like this. I've kind of always thought that as long as we're between first to fourth, for 5 or 6, 7, 8 games, just get on that, build the momentum, find your main 11, and then go for it. I do just feel like Torquay are going to be like that this season.
I think the weather conditions also were a leveler to a degree as well. I mean, the pitch was really good, but it's
I don't like blaming the weather, Tom. To be honest, I didn't like seeing that yesterday. It's same for both teams, isn't it? We have to cope with it.
Yeah, it is, but I do think it has to be factored in to a degree. But overall, the performance wasn't good enough over 90 minutes. We only really turned up for half hour of that game. But again, on another day, we take our chances. We will probably win that. So, yeah,
I think the main thing is don't press the panic button just yet, because it is one thing. Social media feeds into that, doesn't it? We all get ourselves in a frenzy, and suddenly it's the worst thing ever.
Frustrating.
We've got high expectation heading into the season, and so it's understandable. We expect the best this season, don't we? Every game should be winnable. You can't go down, you can't suffer a draw once you're 2-0 up in this league. You shouldn't do anyway. So our expectations are to do better than that. And I don't think we can make excuses about missing players either. I mean, Dover only just got a squad together in the last 2 weeks, so I wouldn't like to use or that sort of thing as excuses. We've just got to be better, I think. That's the main thing.
You should have seen the way they were celebrating at full time. It was like they'd won a cup final.
That's it.
And that's not me. That's not me being, we should be beating teams all the time. But you could tell that result meant a lot to them. And for the season, and they're probably
we've
not
got
going to do much.
continuity in this team. They've all played together, haven't they? So I don't think we can say, "Oh, we're taking time to warm up this season." You know, the pressure is on. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, I think Gary admitted it afterwards, didn't he? He said it wasn't good enough, which is fine. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear him making excuses this season, do we? So that's not going to wash with anybody, is it?
Yeah. Win your home games, pick up points on the road. That tends to be a winning formula in this division. In any division. Just if you're going to have a bad game, let's have a bad one to begin with.
Because the pitch will be better, the conditions will be in our favour, the crowd will be on our side.
I'm not saying we should accept a point, but at least we have a point.
Yeah. It's as I said on social media today, it's not the end of the world. Let's not get carried away.
We need to win our next 2 games though.
Look at I know they're a couple of divisions high now, but look at the Wrexham Notts County results. They've gone up a level and got absolutely thrashed. You would have seen that coming. It's
like stop.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
It is. I'll tell you what has been difficult, reading the predictions league. Thank you to everyone who's voted. So if you don't follow us, obviously you can join in now. Obviously a league, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? 65 players we had, obviously about 24 of the Talkie Talk contributors already, but we had like 40 odd responses. How many do you reckon predicted a draw?
Well, you've told me already. So.
You've told,
2 out of 65 people predicted a draw. And well done to those 2. And well done to that. So we do 0 points for the wrong outcome, 4 points for the correct outcome, 10 points for the correct score. So
who was it anyway? So
it was Luke, who from the Talkie Talk lot. Well done, Luke.
Yep.
And then hang on, it's a long list. Hang on.
Not the Luke that was in a Grecian shirt the other day.
Oh yeah. And then Rob. So I'm really bad at pronouncing names. Keegan, Kiggen. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce them. Keegan. So well done, Rob. I'll call you Rob. So well done. They both put 1-1. So you've got 4 points. You're ahead. Well done, both of you, and thanks to everyone who entered. And
the more expectation of Torquay winning, the more likelihood we won't, isn't it?
Yeah.
We never learn, do we? We always think, no, we'll win. Oh, yeah, it's Torquay, isn't it? We've seen it all before.
We have indeed. But yes.
I agree on the centre back. I think, especially on these away games, you're going to get a lot of balls coming in towards the box, second balls that need winning, physical challenges. Tomlinson's done well in pre-season, but he needs to step it up. Is he strong enough to deal with it? I mean, it's down to him, isn't it? But Marshall is that kind of player, I guess. But can we trust him? So you're kind of like, everybody's wondering if he can step up, and he's not. And he's not even in the squad at the moment. So there's a few question marks. I think, Tom, as you said on the match verdict, it's the squad should be good enough, but have we got a few question marks around?
And let's not forget, at the end of the day, this is Torquay United Football Club. When on earth do we ever go on script? Yeah. When does anything ever go to plan following this football club? One game, disappointing result. It's not the end of the world. We've got 1 more point than the Oval have. On to play more. Hopefully 6 points.
And owner hasn't tried to fight our own fans.
Well, was that, sorry?
Not saying it like ours is much better, to be honest, one probably, but the Oval, yeah. Thank you for watching part 1. Dom's now enlightened, and we'll see you in part 2.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Banyan.